Cool. Okay, well, let's go ahead and just, you kind of sit at the edge of your chair with your feet flat. And sit with a tall back, and we'll start with a little centering work. So if you close the eyes down, and you're breathing through the nose. Just kind of noticing the sensations of the body. And the state of your mind. Tune into your surroundings. And again, connecting to your breath. I like to begin and end all of my practices with a tension release practice. So if you just kind of drop your hands down by the sides, really heavy. Take an inhale to visualize your breath moving in through your nose, through the third eye, down the throat, into the heart. As you exhale, visualize the release of stress from the mind, out the skull, down the neck, over the shoulders, arms, hands, and off of the fingers. Inhale through the nose, third eye, down throat, into heart. Exhale, release stress from the mind, out the skull, down the neck, over shoulders, arms, hands, off the fingers. Continuing with this pattern, inhale to fill the heart up with compassion and gratitude. And exhale, I deeply wish to release all negative psychic tension. Inhale to fill the heart with compassion and gratitude. And exhale, I deeply wish to release all negative psychic tension. Do a couple on your own. And symbolically flick off the fingers, detach, create space. Inhale to reach up overhead. Exhale into third eye, acknowledging devotion to this practice. Into heart, into compassion, set your intentions. And we'll begin our practice together by greeting one another with namaste. Okay, so we're really focusing on neck and upper body today. We're going to kind of start with a little self-massage to get everything really warm. So I'm actually going to have you start like way up at the hairline and just can do a little back and forth across the hairline. Now work your way into the temples. And down to the jaw. Once you get there, feel a nice pressure. You're going to inhale with your eyes closed, your mouth closed. On your exhale, you're going to look up to your third eye and stick your tongue out and keep the pressure fairly light but firm. And do the same thing, but look down at your nose. Back up. And down at the nose. Okay, and then I work around the sinuses a little bit. And we'll get into the ears, so if you just kind of rub the whole ear. And then you can kind of just tug. This is a really great thing to do before getting into neck work. That kind of seems strange, but it makes a big difference. I don't know if you can feel there's already more heat kind of building in the neck and in the skull. And then we're going to go back to the edge of the skull. You're going to kind of press it around there. And then work through the neck. You go along the back and the sides, or even the front if you'd like to. If you find any areas of tension, feel free to get in there. And I work across the shoulder. Oh, that's better already. Good. Down the arms. I know it's amazing, like what a little blood flow can do. And then you're gonna grab like the wrist. Give just like a little bit of pressure, and then you're gonna shake your hand, which I know seems kind of weird. This is like a super quick way to take wrist tension out though. Do the same thing to the other side, just a little pressure and then kind of shake. And just kind of finger twist and pull. Maybe kind of like work through the whole hand. The last part is the most fun. So you get to do this. Oh. Yeah. So I know it seems like we're doing nothing. We're kind of letting the fascia loosen up a little bit. That's called jiggle therapy. It's a real thing, and it really works. And then you might kind of work around the collarbones. I kind of like to just rub under and over, and I even kind of will like dig my fingers back a little bit. You don't have to be aggressive, just enough that you kind of, you'll find areas of tension, and there might be like little adhesions in the fascia, and not usually, but even every once in a while you can kind of like hear them pop. Mm-hmm. And you're going to jiggle therapy your arms. Get them nice and loosey-goose. On my privates, it's funny to do jiggle therapy because I just like do this to their limbs. Cool. All right, how's everyone feeling so far? Good. Good already, right? More? Yeah.
More awake, yeah.
Perfect. Let's take our hands in the back of the skull. You're just going to do a little twisting. So each inhale come to the center, each exhale, twist. Let's kind of alternate sides. And the next time you twist, pause. And I don't really care what direction you're facing. It doesn't really matter. And you're going to take your forward hand to the inside of the same side leg. You're going to take your back hand around to the back of the chair. And your inhale, you to lengthen. Just kind of use your arms as a stabilizer. You're not really going to push. But on your exhale, you look over your back shoulder. And then inhale, kind of just let the neck release to its natural position. On the exhale, look to the front shoulder. So inhale through the center and exhale back. Inhale center and exhale front. Let's do that a few times. And you might feel some more heat build while you do it. That's generally a pretty good sign if you're building heat quick. Let's Do one more each direction until you even out. Whenever you're complete, release. Now take a twist to the opposite side. It's a nice big twist. Front hand to the same side leg. Back arm to the back of the chair. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, look to the back. Inhale, center, and exhale, look to the front. So the neck is really special because it's a part of the spine, but you can change the entire experience of your spine through work of the neck. So even though you're just focusing your neck, your whole back will really respond to this kind of work. And do one more each direction. Good, and unwind. Let's just kind of compare, and then go back to your twist. It should be a little easier to twist this time. One more each direction. I'm gonna come back to your center. So you guys have a pretty big shift before and after. Cool. Nice. You don't even have to like crank yourself into it or anything. Stabilize and then move your neck. So we're going to kind of do the same work, but we're going to go through side bending now. So hands in the skull, take an inhale as you exhale, side bend one way, inhale center, and exhale side bend the other way. I'm going to choose a side to pause on. Again, it doesn't really matter which one. Just going to kind of let yourself release to that area. Your bottom hand is just going to drop down kind of heavy. And the top arm is going to extend, the palm facing the floor. And your inhale, I want you to turn your gaze up to the eye of that elbow. On your exhale, you spin your whole arm back, tuck it behind you, and look down past the fingers on the floor. On the inhale, you're going to look up. On the exhale, you're going to tuck back and look down beyond the fingers that drop toward the floor. One more time. Good, and then go ahead and release. Do the same thing to the other side, so you do a side bend, bottom hand drops down, top arm extends, the palm facing the floor. Inhale, eye the elbow, exhale, spin the arm, look beyond the fingers and drop down to the floor. Time. And you can go ahead and release. So I know just those few things really makes a difference for me. So the way I practice is I believe in building mobility through stability versus big stretches. Stretches feel good for a short period of time, but in my experience and from what science shows us now, contractions actually create mobility quicker. Because when you contract a muscle, it builds heat, and when you build heat, it relaxes the fascia, and the fascia is really what's kind of deciding whether or not you can move, not so much the muscle. So stretching a muscle can feel good, and it's not bad to do, it's nice to do, but the effects don't last a super long time. What does last a super long time is contracting. So we're going to do some stuff that's going to seem kind of weird, and it's going to help a lot though. So I want you to just kind of drop one ear and then the other, and I want you to decide which side feels harder. And we're going to start with your harder side. Okay. So for instance, me dropping this ear to shoulder is harder. So I'm going to be working with this shoulder first. And you're going to pull it up, back, down. Let's do that again. Up, back, down. And now we're going to do that again, but before we're going to set the neck up. So you're going to go back, up, and then you're going to drop your ear to the side. Now that shoulder and the ear are going to move toward each other, and you're going to flex it as much as you can. And then release shoulder back down and release the neck. Okay. That, for me, usually like pops something in my neck or back. So again, you're going to kind of go back up to the side. Shoulder is going to move to the ear. You're going to hold and squeeze. And then shoulder back down. And release. And then one more time. Back up to the side. Shoulder and ear squeeze together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then shoulder back down and release. It's pretty different. Now try your originally easy side. For me, it's now way tighter.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah. And for me, I can feel it like all the way down to the middle of my back. Good. So you were really like using a lot of traps. So the traps are what kind of keeps you, if your traps are weak, you're gonna kind of do this a lot. So what we want to do is not get the upper traps so tight anymore. You're contracting them so you can build strength in the lower and the mid traps. And when you strengthen these right here, everything here opens up more. Think of like a bicep curl. If you're doing a bicep curl, it's stretching the tricep. So if you're contracting up here, you're actually getting a pretty good pull down lower. If you're flexing through your back, your chest starts to open more. Just whatever you're working, the opposite side starts to open. So now look at the other side. So we're just going to practice a few up, back, down, up, back, down. One more. Okay, then your head's going to drop back and lift the chin, and then you're going to drop ear to shoulder and squeeze. Shoulder back down and release. Go back up to the side, squeeze. Shoulder back down, release. One more time. Back up to the side, squeeze. Back down and release. Loosey-goosey. Whenever I get into neck stuff like this, I feel like an owl. Like by the end, I can just spin my head all the way around. Like a jack-o'-lantern, like on a scarecrow, my head could just roll off or something. So we're going to start kind of going side to side now. So we need to test what side feels more tense. So for me, it's opposite side this time. I'm going to be working this way first. So what you're going to be doing, you're going to choose that side, you're going to take your hand to the side of your head. You want to make sure you're not pushing into your jaw, but up a little bit higher, like cheekbone or temple even. You're going to take an inhale completely long, and ears really over shoulders, as tall as you can get your spine. On your exhale, you're barely going to turn your hand, and you're going to resist with your hand. Then inhale, relax. And your exhale, you're barely going to turn, resist with the hand. Inhale, relax. Now one more time. And go ahead and release. And again, just kind of compare your one's hard side to your one's easy side. And then we'll switch. So inhale, prepare. Sit really, really tall. On the exhale, you're barely going to turn your head and add some resistance. Inhale, relax. And exhale, you're barely going to turn and add some resistance. And one more time. Good, go ahead and release. And again, you can kind of compare. Man, I do it every day, but every day I'm surprised how quick it works.
That's one of my favorites.
That is such a good one.
I used to do a lot of resistive stretches in massages.
Oh yeah, so you're the massage therapist. Yeah, I kind of figured maybe because you were asking certain questions earlier, and I was like, I wonder if you're the massage therapist. Yeah, resistance just is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And they engage the muscles so quickly, and like what you said, bringing the heat there and doing all the contractions.
Yeah,
Instant.
It's just magic.
Yeah.
It's an instant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we're going to kind of go back to side stuff. I want you to, let's all start with our right hand drop down. Take an inhale here. On your exhale, you're going to flex your wrist and just push your left ear to your shoulder. So now we're kind of gliding or flossing the nerves. On the inhale, release. On the exhale, flex. So you might start to feel this down through your arm a little bit more. We're going to do that one more time. I'm going to pause here, spread your fingers really wide, and then you're just going to kind of turn your whole arm each direction as kind of test mobility. Whenever you're complete, you're going to inhale, come to center, but this time you're going to pick up your arm kind of like a robot. And your exhale, you're going to push through the heat of the hand, drop the ear to the shoulder. Inhale, you're going to come to center, kind of lift your robot arm. Exhale. One more time. Don't you feel like a claw machine? Like, you're gonna pick up a toy and then exhale. Okay, so now what I want you to do, flip your palm over. Keep your ear towards your shoulder. Pretend that someone's got a strap on your elbow and they're pulling your elbow diagonally away from the shoulder. And you're gonna kind of keep feeling the elbow tugging that way, but you're gonna start to bend your elbow so that the palm comes to meet the shoulder. And we'll do that again. Inhale, extend, and really feel the elbow kind of pull. And then exhale, palm to shoulder, then one more time. This time we're gonna pause, and you do teeny tiny actions forward and backward. One more each way. And you're gonna do teeny tiny actions up and down. And then you're gonna do slightly bigger actions forward and backward. And slightly larger actions up and down. One more each direction. And go ahead and release. I'm like, this arm's on fire. We could keep working this arm, but I think it'll be nice to feel more balanced as we get into it, and we'll go back to the arm. So go ahead and drop left fingers down, inhale, on the exhale, flex. So we're kind of going back to that nerve gliding, you're flossing. Do that twice more. And essentially what that means is you're gliding the spine so that the nerves get more blood flow. Okay, so the next time, pause, spread your fingers really wide, and then just kind of roll the arm forward and backward. You've got all sorts of lovely nerves that run from the neck down the arms into the hands. So this one, sometimes you might feel like your index finger and your thumb get a little tingly. That'd be the radial nerves. That's a good sign that maybe there's a little pressure there. Inhale back through center, and your exhale, you're inhaling robot arm. Exhaling, pressing. Inhale the robot arm. Exhale. And one more time. Okay, now flip the palm. And take an inhale like someone's pulling your elbow in a diagonal away from the shoulder. Exhale, palm to shoulder. Inhale, feel the elbow pull away. Exhale, palm to shoulder. One more time. And pause here. Forward and backwards slightly. So start really small. And then up and down. You know, slightly larger forward, backward. And slightly larger up and down. One more each way. And then go ahead and release. Ooh, what was that? So let's take our arms by the sides for a moment. You're going to inhale with your elbows by the ribs. On your exhale, sit tall and pull your elbows straight back and try to keep your head from moving forward. Inhale, elbows kind of pinned to the ribs, and exhale, straight back. It must be weird for the dog to see us all doing this.
No, she loves therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she likes to get up on the table for sessions.
What's her name?
Cooper.
Cooper. Cute. One more time. This time you're going to hold it and you're going to try to pull your elbows a little closer together. So remember earlier I said if you're contracting one side, the other side opens. And you're contracting your back so your chest is opening. I'm going to go ahead and release. I'm going to get some judo therapy in your arms. Okay, so now we're going to pin your elbows to your ribs. The temptation is going to be to move your arm away. That's not bad, it's normal, but I want you to do your best to keep your elbows and ribs touching. The inhale, really tall. Keep yourself as tall as you can. On your exhale, I want you to open your arms away, but only as far as you can without moving the elbows. Inhale to close, and exhale away. And one more. And hold this. Again, sit tall. Almost like you're pushing your elbows into the ribs without letting the shoulders creep up. So that's a little tricks your body will do to try to keep you from doing what I want you to do. And then I want you to stretch your fingers down to the floor. Your elbows can come away now. On your inhale, chin parallel to the ground. I want you to slide your chin forward. On your exhale, try to pull your ears behind your shoulders. Inhale, chin glides forward. Exhale, behind. And try to keep your chin parallel to the ground rather than lifting and lowering. Give yourself a big double chin. Just a few more. One more. Good, then go ahead and release. Nice. So it's a muscle, and everyone that works at like a desk job, or if they're like this a lot, this muscle starts to kind of collapse. So it's the sternocleidomastoid. It attaches from the sternum to the clavicles and then back to the mastoid processes back here. So it creates kind of like, almost looks kind of like a diamond. Actually, your whole neck is really kind of cool. Everything like is so symmetrical that it just looks like you have triangles around your neck, which is really, I don't know,
It's a lot of
really
triangles,
cool, right? It's a lot of
yeah.
triangles,
Yeah.
yeah. So it gives you this ability to move your head like so much more than the rest of you. And this muscle starts to kind of collapse on people if they're like this all the time. So this starts to collapse and it gets really tight. It almost becomes like hypertoned in its collapsed state, which pulls you this way. And then your traps try to make up for it, and so they go up to try to pull your head back, and then you kind of end up like this. So if you do like some of this, and you follow with some of these, and then you arms down, chin forward, backward, that's one of the quickest ways to correct all that stuff. You could do it a few times a day and completely change the shape of your neck in as little as a month. Like, it goes quick if you're doing it, and it doesn't take very long. It's like, you know, those exercises took 3 minutes, maybe. So not very long, do it once or twice a day, and your neck is gonna be totally changed. So you can also kind of feel that muscle if you turn your head, you can actually grab it which is kind of gross but also kind of fun. So you can feel what it is, and you could probably even kind of feel where it attaches at even. And sometimes what I like to do is after I finish all of that, after I go through those 3 things, I'll find the attachment side, like a nice push to it, and I'll turn into it. So you might try that, pick a side, find the attachment, and just kind of light pressure to turn into it. Just, I don't know, 2 or 3, maybe 4 each side. Nice. How's everyone feeling?
Good.
Good. So now we can work with some nice extension and flexion through the neck. So we're going to kind of work with this point right here underneath the skull, the top of the neck. And nice pressure, not intense pressure, but pretty fair pressure. You're going to keep the pressure. On your inhale, you're going to slide your chin back to your throat. You're going to keep the pressure with the fingers and lift up. On your exhale, you're going to pull the chin back to the throat and then down. So the temptation is to kind of just like let your head flop back, and then it's like your chin has to pull you forward, and I don't want that to be the case. So I'm going to show from the side really quick. So this is kind of what happens a lot of the time. People like, they're so tight and they're so stressed that like, they go back, and I don't know if you can see like all the stress that builds in my neck. And then it's really hard to go forward, but if you put this little pressure here and then you go back and up, like I have significantly more mobility and it's easier. I don't have that same sort of stress, it's really relaxed. And then back and down. So that glide to the, like again, that like double chin is really gonna save you.
It's good for something.
Yeah, double chin is good for something, yeah.
Yeah.
So find pressure, and on your inhale you'll go back and up. On your exhale you'll go back and down. One more. Good, whenever you're complete, you kind of just even like roll your head around or check anything that still feels a little tense maybe. Maybe almost everything is loosened up, but if you find a tense spot, what I want you to do is take your fingers into that tense spot and just kind of work into it. Work into the direction that causes tension, not pain necessarily. If you're starting to feel real pain, I'd like you to not do that. But as long as it's just a little bit of manageable tension, you can kind of work through it and just let it up that way.
So you bend into it so the muscle goes soft.
Yes, yes, bend into it.